It is another Thursday, which of course means it is the Let's Talk Thursdays podcast. My name is Brendan Plays. Welcome to this week's edition of the show. Well, I did say it's Thursday, but right now as I'm recording this, it's just still Wednesday with a few more minutes to go in the day. Late recording here for me, but realistically it's pretty early. We're doing this a day earlier than normal because I will be away for the next coming days. Of course, this weekend is Australia Day, so I will be busy this Australia Day. Normally I don't really do anything for Australia Day, or, I know if you're wondering what do people really do on Australia Day, mainly people get together, have a barbecue, eat food, play some backyard cricket, drink beers. Quite often there's always some kind of sport on TV to watch. Normally the cricket's on, something's on to kind of do. It's normally low key, but kind of a bit of a get together, a bit of an excuse to get everyone around and have some beers and whatever. But normally I don't really do any of that. Normally I just kind of treat it as a regular day, but the last couple of years my girlfriend always wants me to get out and come over to her house and do something for it. So I'll be there. So that means I won't be able to make any videos for the next couple of days, which is the reason why I won't be doing the podcast tomorrow, because obviously heading out a day early for the day. So we are doing the show a little early, and the reason why I emphasize that is because obviously today we're talking about some breaking news stuff. Obviously, the Enzo Amore situation is the hot topic today, and I will be chatting about this as of Wednesday, so potentially new news could come out about it, and some of the things that I've been saying could be proven wrong or outdated or new updates or whatever. So I'm just letting you know that we are recording this as of Wednesday, so day earlier than normal. But this week's show should be a big one. We are obviously covering Raw 25 and the Royal Rumble. So we're going to talk about Raw 25. We're going to preview the Royal Rumble. And obviously, as we said, the big news topic, Enzo, and much, much more. So we'll get into that. So that'll be the basis of today's show. We have some questions, of course, from you guys at the end of the show as well. But so this past weekend on my channel, we had the TLC pay-per-view, which I want to thank everyone who came along to that show and watched it live. A little bit lower in viewers than usual. I'm not 100% sure why. I think maybe I might have messed up on my end with the thumbnail of the stream. It didn't change. I kept trying to change it, but it wouldn't work, and I didn't notice that it wasn't working. So a few things like that could have, impacted it. But for the most part, still a good turnout. I'm still happy with the way it went. You guys seem to enjoy the show. And I had to do an all-nighter for it, as I usually do. I had to stay up till about 8 a.m. to stream it. We also did a TW stream just before it as well. So it was a bit of a super day of streaming for me. So it was a long night, but a fun one. I enjoyed the TW stream. We got to Extreme Rules on that, so if you haven't already checked that one out. And of course as well with the TLC stream, and you guys getting a chance to watch that Universe Mode pay-per-view, which of course is available on the channel right now as well. Most part, you guys seem to enjoy it, which is really positive. I'm really happy that you did. Next up is the Royal Rumble, and I'm really excited to plan the Royal Rumble and try and figure out who's going to be in this match, what am I going to do with it. I have no idea who potentially could win. It's going to be a big one. Could be plenty of big names. It really obviously depends on which number they draw. So there's going to be some curveballs. I think there's going to be some surprises as always, and there's going to be some interesting scenarios coming out of it. So I'm really looking forward to getting into that. And there should be, as of recording right now, I'm going to go ahead and make a Universe Mode episode after this podcast, which you guys should have already seen by now, which would be the Monday Night Raw episode. But so I'm really looking forward to getting into it. This month as well, we have NXT TakeOvers as well. So that will probably be a week before the Royal Rumble, and we'll split that up by a week. And that'll mean that it's a pretty big month, isn't it? It's a big month. We've got to really step it up. We've got to up my game a little bit, be a little bit more busy, and try and get these videos out on time and hurry it along a little bit. But not this weekend coming, but the next one, I believe. I also will be going away for the weekend as well. So it's a bit of a crappy time in terms of me getting my work done, not having the weekends to do it. So I'll have to be a little bit more busy during the week, which is something I'm not really good at doing. But I'll give that a shot. So, so just letting you guys know, this weekend obviously not available, and the next weekend not available as well, but should be all good after that. But that's pretty much all that's kind of going on with the channel. Oh yeah, this week we also hit 70,000 subscribers, which is truly an amazing milestone. I'm really happy that we got there. It's taken me a while to get there, obviously, but every year we kind of gain about 10, 15,000 subscribers or so. That's kind of where we're at. So we got there. I'm really happy that we did. I'm really proud of the accomplishment of what we've been able to achieve. 70,000 subscribers in 5 years. So some people might say, well, that's pretty slow. But for me, I believe, it probably is a bit slow. But I'm really happy with that I got there. I never expected to get 70,000. In fact, 5 years ago, just before I launched Brennan Plays, I was about ready to give up on the YouTube dream because I'd been going at it for 3 years on my first original channel. It hit 600 subscribers, but realistically, none of them are really active. The only way I was really getting views is when I was kind of posting my videos around and tweeting my videos around to different things and getting people to check them out that way, not from my subscribers coming along and checking it out. But at times, though, I did have some videos that were doing well, and I kind of felt as though, hey, maybe I could make it, maybe I could, have a nice little subscriber base for myself. And I obviously stumbled across this WWE thing. I was never really planning on doing it. I just thought, hey, I like WWE. I'm interested in it right now. Let's give it a shot. It seems fun. Let's do it. And I did, and it just ended up being my thing. I probably never wanted to really be a WWE YouTuber, and it just kind of stumbled across my lap, and I'm really glad that it did because it's ended up being a lot of fun. It's kept me busy for the last few years whilst I'm doing university. Now, obviously, graduated from university. Still haven't got a job yet. I haven't started looking yet, unfortunately, but that's my next step. I need to start doing that ASAP. But yeah, so it's kept me busy. It's kept me, I've had a lot of fun with it. The only thing I want to achieve before I give up the YouTube dream is 100K, and I'm 30,000 away. So I'm just going to try and keep grinding until I get there. Hopefully I do, because I just want that plaque. I want a plaque to put on the wall and say, hey, Brendan, you did this. You got 100,000 subscribers. Well done. You made it this far. And I would love to be able to accomplish that. Love to be able to say that I did that and have that under my belt. And when I can look back on my channel, I can say, you know what? I did pretty well. I got to 100K. That's all I kind of want. So we're at 70 right now. Who knows what the future will hold? Who knows if I'll get there? But I'm going to keep working until I try, can get as close as I can. So it might motivate me to keep on going. And maybe I might have to try and do something different, obviously, other than WWE. I've kind of become comfortable with doing WWE. I'm just kind of stuck with it because it's what I know. It's what I think, to be honest, good at. I've branched out and done some TW stuff as well, which is basically wrestling as well. But, we do the odd review here and there as well. So I might have to try and start doing a few other things. The other problem is I'm just not quite sure what else to really do or what else really would interest me. That's the only issue. The only thing is probably something more along the review-based things, but a lot of people do reviews and things like that. So I don't think there's really a spot for me to do that. But, something to think about. But I'm really happy with what I've been able to accomplish. I want to thank each and every one of you that has subscribed and continues to support the channel after all these years, whether you're new or old. I really appreciate it. And hopefully much more content to come. Hopefully we have another big couple of years and get all the way to 100,000. Let's move along now to the Enzo Amore. So we're going from my celebrating to Enzo. Well, it's been a bad week for that guy. He has been officially fired. The Cruiserweight Championship has been vacated. Enzo is no more. He's gone. He's done. It's a big move from the WWE. It's a big move, and this might be the big basis of today's show. The question is it legit? Now, what are we talking about if you're not aware? I'm pretty sure every one of you are, but obviously Enzo Amore has been accused of sexual assault or rape, aka rape. It is a very serious thing, and it's probably one of the most serious things that could happen to the guy other than murder. So when you think about Chris Benoit, he murdered his family. Well, if Enzo Amore gets guilty of raping a woman, that's basically the next worst thing, really. Might be a few other things, but very close. So it's very serious, and I can understand why WWE are treating it as such. I can understand why WWE were quick to suspend him. I am personally not a fan of guilty until proven innocent. I am a fan of innocent until proven guilty. So Enzo has not been proven guilty yet. And I'll get into it in a moment why I think he's not guilty to begin with. But I feel like this is very disappointing to see from WWE to fire him. I could understand suspending him. I guess if he wasn't the champion, this would have been a lot easier to deal with. Perhaps like a Rich Swann, where they could just suspend the guy, people forget about him, sweep it under the rug, and when they sort it out, they can bring him back. But I guess he's a bit more in the spotlight. He is the champion, so they had to kind of act accordingly. So Enzo has been accused of raping this woman. I'm not 100% sure on her name. I don't really care, to be honest, because she has come out on Twitter and basically said, look, I was, abused by a wrestler known as Enzo Amore. I'm just paraphrasing quickly here. Basically, she said she was out on drugs. She was coked up, drunk, blah, blah, blah. She was out of it. And she said that she refused, kept saying no, 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 but he kept going with it. And eventually to the point where he said, I've got 1 million Instagram followers or something. You should want me. You should be begging for me. She said that he said that and things like that. So it doesn't sound good. From her accusations, it really doesn't sound good for Enzo. But the problem is, I struggle to believe this. Now, a lot of people might say, well, you're victim shaming. Well, look, we live in a very politically correct world where if someone says something, we automatically believe it, and we completely shun the person who's been, supposedly guilty of it. All you have to do is look at what's happened in Hollywood in the last month or 2 months. How many actors have been getting targeted? And some of them are guilty, 100%. But some of them are just wild accusations thrown out from someone who's, looking for probably, honestly, a payday. Looking to get their name out there. Looking to get on TMZ like this girl did with Enzo. Looking to make some money from this. Looking to do something. Exploit this guy's name, this fame, for their own personal greed. Now, it is possible that some of these cases are legit, and I feel really terrible about those ones, but I cannot believe that, all of a sudden that all these people are getting outed, that half of Hollywood are all doing this. I can obviously believe there's a percentage that is, but not, so many names are getting put out there. Now, that's not to say Enzo is not capable of this. If I had to pick a wrestler just judged off what I heard about him, the type of guy that he is, you would have to probably assume Enzo would be capable of doing something like this. And her story does sound kind of believable when you think about who Enzo is. But, I just don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to prove. That's the thing. Rape is probably the hardest thing to prove unless you, go straight away. I think there's a rape kit or something. You get the tests. If you leave it, though, it is very hard to prove unless, obviously, there's witnesses and things like that, which apparently there was. There's people there. But for the most part, look, the reason why I think this woman may be a little bit sketchy is because you look at her Twitter, she's selling photos of herself, her Snapchat photos, naked pictures of herself. She's selling those, maybe even videos. I'm not 100% sure. So she's obviously very comfortable with her body and willing to kind of, be some kind of, to a low degree a sex worker. Now, I don't know if she does that, but at least she is selling sexual photos of herself or videos to people. So she's kind of involved in that scenario. So that's not, that's obviously not a bad thing. She doesn't deserve to be raped or anything like that, but I'm just saying, she's involved in this kind of situation. So, and then on a YouTube channel, there's videos of her doing fake pregnancy. Apparently that was a prank though, according to her. Don't know. So the whole thing seems kind of sketchy. The big thing for me was her TMZ interview. And if you haven't seen this, go and check it out. But she is able to recount the entire story. She knows word for word. There's one little period where she said, oh yeah, I blanked out and I don't remember this, but I woke up and he was still going. But everything else, she's able to recall word for word when she was apparently on coke and meth or something and drunk. And she had, passed out or whatever. So apparently she's able to recall everything when she was drugged out. So she recalled everything word for word, basically, step by step. And she was very calm and collected in the interview. Now, it's possible that, she's able to talk about it freely, but to me, most victims would be nearly crying about the ordeal or upset about it. She just was comfortable just talking about it, which is very weird and just strange that she's able to come out there and say it. So, I don't know. Look, it's a very tough one. I don't know. It's hard to say. Now, the big piece of news that's working in Enzo's favor is allegedly, now I don't know, look, this guy could be legit, we don't know at this stage, but allegedly a friend of this victim has come out and said that it's all bullshit. He's come out and said that, this girl was consensual, that she even come out and in this text message history that he pulled up, said that this girl basically said, hey, I slept with a famous wrestler, oh my god, he's right next to me, or that type of thing. So she was kind of almost bragging that she had done this, and according to this video, basically she said that she was getting in trouble from her father for going out and drinking and doing drugs and things like that again when he didn't want her to, and he kind of used this as a bit of a cover-up to have an excuse, like, oh, he raped me type of thing, to kind of have an excuse not to get in trouble. She did go to rehab afterwards, so she did say that, and the friend did confirm that she did go to rehab, so she has dealt with drugs quite a lot before. So I've never done drugs ever, and I never will, but from what I hear, if you're on that much drugs that she said she was, I don't know if you're going to be able to remember too much from the night. So the fact that she was able to recount every little step is very odd to me. But her friend basically came out and said it's a lot of bullshit, and he had some text messages to prove it. Now, how legitimate are those? I don't know. They seem pretty legit, and they seem to kind of, match up with what this girl was kind of talking about, and he seemed to know a lot about the situation. He gave a lot of background details and story on this girl and the incident that happened, so he seemed to know a lot about it. So if it's a load of shit, then it's the best load of shit I've probably heard. And he just was frustrated. So obviously this guy knows this girl, knows that she's a bit, sketchy, and he even said that he stopped being friends with her, so he knows something's up with her, and she's come out here maybe to look for a payday, look to get famous. That's what he kind of alluded to. So it's hard to say, man. It's hard. Look, if it is true, Enzo's done. That's it. Forget about him. He should be gone from wrestling. Forgotten about, because that's a terrible, horrible thing to do. But if he is innocent, I think we've got to do something, because so many people are now getting accused, and it was only a matter of time until it was WWE. It was only a matter of time until they targeted a wrestler, because we all know wrestlers, some of them, Ric Flair claimed to sleep with 10,000 women or whatever. So we all know kind of wrestlers who are single, on the road, are going to do what they're going to do. So they're going to come across these situations, and obviously Enzo has in this situation. So it was only a matter of time until someone came out and said something about somebody. And she waited until, basically Raw 25, so the biggest Raw in quite some time, to drop the news, which I find very convenient as well, considering it happened in October. Now, apparently the reason why Enzo was fired is because that he knew about the incident but didn't tell WWE. So obviously the police were investigating the situation but did not alert WWE. And that was, apparently, some of the dirt sheets are saying that was the main reason why he was fired. But to me, I think that's not right or silly. He's being investigated. Okay, he probably should have let us know. But is it true or is it false? That's the main issue. If it's true, see ya. If it's false, then there's no issue. Because if he felt as though it was a load of bullshit, I can understand why he didn't let them know. Because he's probably thinking, well, hey, I'm not going to tell them because this might jeopardize me when I know it's a load of shit. So if it's a load of shit, why put himself in a bad situation and potentially harming situation for his own career? So I kind of understand why he kept quiet on it, if he did, that is. Because, if WWE starts to think, well, this guy maybe raped a girl, we don't know, he says he didn't, they start to get some doubt in him, they might take the championship off him and go in a different direction just to be safe. So I can understand why perhaps he thought, well, shit, I'm not going to let them know about this. I know it's not legit, so I'm just going to try and sweep it on the rug and forget about it. So I can understand why he would have did that if he is innocent. Obviously, if he's guilty, then, well, did it because he didn't want anyone to find out. But look, at the end of the day, Enzo's gone for now. It's possible he'll be brought back once he's proven innocent. If he's guilty, then he's obviously never come back. He'll probably face jail time for a long period of time. So, look, if he is innocent, there's got to be something we can do. There's got to be some kind of way where we can weed out this crap. I don't know how, but women are coming out every day, maybe even men as well, I don't know. But people are coming out every day throwing out accusations. Not all of them are legit. It's making it even harder for real victims to be believed. And if this woman is a real victim, then, I apologize for even considering that it could not be legit. It's just, obviously, you got to interpret these things. You're going to look at the person who's saying it, look at all the evidence, and then make a judgment call. But at the end of the day, she was there. She knows what happened. And if it's legit, then I apologize. But if it is fake, it just makes it harder for real victims. That's the problem. It makes it really hard for real victims to be believed and get the right, get justice. And that's the real shitty thing about it. That's why we see all these accusations coming around all the time. And that's why it's really frustrating when we see it all. And some of them are, obviously, I'd probably say the minority of them are legit and majority are not. So it makes it harder for some of these legit cases to really get through and get seen and be publicized when so many false accusations are going through. So I don't know what we can do. I think we're at a society at the moment is just such a society that's there to judge people. We are on social media, boom, let's criticize and let's hate on people. For example, a tennis player here in Australian Open, he's from America, called his actual name is Tennis Sandgren, I think. He made it to the quarterfinals of the Australian Open. Fantastic achievement. This guy is basically a no-name guy. It's his first ever major tournament. Fantastic accomplishment. I think he even beat Dimitrov, which I think is the world number 3. So he beat a big name. If it wasn't him, someone else. So he beat a big name, did it really well, played really good. In the post-match press conference, everyone is worried about who he follows on Twitter and his political beliefs, rather than the way the guy played tennis. The guy had a great tournament. Instead of focusing on his accomplishments and how well he played, everyone is judging him about who he follows on Twitter and his political views. That's this type of society that we're in. Everyone is so quick to try and find something about someone to hate on them and to judge them and to try and ruin their career. People were saying that this guy should not be allowed to play tennis anymore because apparently he follows, some people that people don't agree with. And he said that he doesn't agree with the policies. He just kind of finds what they're tweeting about interesting. And if that's the case, whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, who gives a shit who he follows? Let's worry about how he plays on the court. So that's the thing. Like, we're just in a society right now that is just, boom, let's just criticize, let's just hate, let's just take people down, let's end careers. And if this is to be false, then Enzo's career could be gone. It might not be able to be recovered, because even if it's proven to be false, there's always going to be some people that doubt him. There's always going to be some people that say, no, he actually did it. I believe that he did it. So, I don't know. I don't know if he can come back from this. I don't know. Look, like I said, if he's proven to be guilty, then yeah, he deserves to rot. Fair enough. But if he is innocent, I'm a firm believer. I'm going to wait until there is legitimate, proven facts that he did this, before I'm going to start thinking that he did. At the moment, I'm tossing up both sides and I'm making a judgment call. And like I said, innocent until proven guilty. Because I've seen so many of these cases now where they are ending up being false. So to me, I'm already starting to, initially I'm already starting to think, no, it's got to be fake. Because we're seeing so much of it. So, look, I just hope we get the right thing, the right information. I hope we get justice. If it is legit, then he's got to go. But if he's innocent, I hope the guy can recover. Whether you like him or not, like the character, like the person, I think at the end of the day, he's got to be given a fair call, fair treatment. And I don't think WWE treated him fairly by firing him before it's come out, unless they know something we don't know. And if that's the case, yep, fair enough. But if they know what we know, then I think that's pretty unfair. I think that's bullshit. I think WWE suspending him indefinitely, sure. Put him off TV until you find out what's going on. Because he could get, let's be honest, if people start thinking he's a rapist, then he's going to get very bad reactions on television, and it won't be a good look for the sponsors and things like that. So that's why they kind of do that. It's damage control. But if he is to be innocent, he's got to be brought back, because he's had a really good year. 2017 was Enzo's year. It was a terrific year. It started off really badly, but he recovered. He turned into a singles. He carried the 205 Live division. He made it decent. Made it bearable in the Raw segments. He's basically the star of that show. So, it sucks, man. It really sucks, but it's a shitty situation for everyone. This girl, if she's just trying to get, some fame, that shit, I hate that. But that's the world we live in. Anyone can become famous overnight. That's the power of social media. Even if this girl ends up telling the truth, she's going to be famous for a terrible thing. And if she's lying, then she's going to be, have her 10 minutes of fame for, telling a load of shit. And so it's not a great situation at all. But look, as I said, let's hope it gets resolved. Let's hope we find out the truth. Whatever the truth is, we'll deal with that. But that's kind of, me weighing up both sides of the situation. I just kind of wanted to throw it out there. And if you don't agree with what I'm saying, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. They're just kind of what I think from me analysing the evidence and everything like that. And I normally don't talk about these types of controversial, conflicting issues because, to be honest, I don't really want to upset anyone. I don't really want to go out there and piss anyone off. But for this situation, I kind of was pretty strong opinionated about it. I don't really share my political views. I don't really have any political views, to be honest. I just kind of don't care about it. But I thought in this situation, I wanted to really jump into it and just kind of give my take on it and what's been my gauge on just how everyone treats it in general. But let's move along from that shitty situation to another situation that wasn't shitty, but disappointing. Raw 25, the 25th anniversary show. I was disappointed. Now, I thought it was a good Raw. Considering the Raw qualities that we get, this was a good one. Probably the best one in a while. But to me, I thought this was going to be the best Raw in years. I thought maybe the best Raw since Raw 1000. Did we get that? No. We really, really didn't. But, look, I enjoyed the show, as I said. But this show, they really just didn't execute. They had the talent there. They had the star power there. They just didn't execute at all. And the Manhattan Center situation was disastrous, but we'll get to that. But what they did do is they did draw a big rating. Nearly 5 million viewers, at least I think an average of 4.5 million throughout the show, which is like 1 million extra. A 1 million bonus, a gain, compared to last week. So it's a huge rating for them. Their biggest rating, I believe, in 3 years since the post-WrestleMania show of 31, I believe. So it's a big rating for them. But will they capitalize? Will the people be there next week? I don't know. I think some of them will be. I think it'll be another decent show. I don't think they'll hit 4 million, but I think they might hit 3.7. I think they'll keep 20% of their viewers from last week, at least until next week's show. Will they keep them after that? I don't know. Obviously, being a post-Rumble show as well, there'll be some kind of excitement there. So I think they'll keep some viewers, but look, the opener was great. The opener was fantastic. Stone Cold coming out, stunning Vince McMahon. That was everything it needed to be. The whole plaque thing, Vince going from babyface to heel in 3 seconds was amazing. It was a good segment. It was a great way to kick the show off. And then we followed it with a women's match. A women's tag match that just was a tag. They just had the match and then that was it. No legend coming out or any interaction with any legends. Nothing. Nothing really. And then I don't even know what happened from there. It just really started going downhill. They just lost all their momentum. And then, the Manhattan Center. What a disaster. They had maybe 45 minutes of actual TV time there. They spent at least like an hour doing nothing there. And to me, they should have had the opening hour of Raw at the Manhattan Center. And the opening hour at the Manhattan Center, and then, play the rest of Raw at that center and have some other matches, some dark matches, because they've got a big roster. And a lot of their guys that would normally be on Raw wouldn't make the cut because the mid-card names. So, you could have had some guys appear, have a match at the Manhattan Center later on who won't appear on the Barclays, or you can even have some Manhattan guys that appear there and have them come at the Barclays later, things like that, whatever. But at least one absolute dedicated hour to the Manhattan Center. But instead, they went with the attempt of what they did, switching back and forth like they did at WrestleMania. Was it 2, I believe? Which was never going to work because people don't want to go to a wrestling show and watch a screen. Now, people do go to venues and watch a screen. It is a thing. If there's a big event on and people can't make it to the show, people will go and check it out on the TV and be in a crowd. But this wasn't that situation. People are there to watch the actual show. They paid money and they expect to watch the show. So the Manhattan Center didn't get any content until really the final, half hour, 45 minutes of the show when DX kind of came out. They had a little bit of time there, but still really not a lot there. They had maybe like 10 minutes of match time. It was short, quick matches. And apparently they had 2-minute 205 live matches in between commercial breaks. Really? Like, that's really pathetic. So I don't know. Like, what I would have personally done is I would have had both shows doing two different things at the same time. If you wanted to, first hour Manhattan Center, that's it. And then the rest of the 2 hours of the Barclays Center. But then the content, keep filming at the Manhattan Center. And all the content that they film within that 2 hour period, put it on your damn network. People can watch it later. That way, everyone in the Manhattan Center is getting unique content. And then they'll go home and watch Raw anyway. So they're going to watch Raw on a TV screen. They may as well go home and do it. And give them something in front of the crowd. So they could have easily had a lot of these legends come out and do something. For God's sake, they had the Boogeyman and MVP. Guys that could actually wrestle. Just there. Why not? My solution, why not have a Legends Battle Royal in the Manhattan Center? Have a Legends Battle Royal. Bring back Legends and put them in the match. All they got to do is throw a few punches, a couple of kicks, and be thrown over the top rope. And that's it. See you later. Easy match to do. And if you wanted to be a purposeful match, the winner gets a Royal Rumble spot. Simple. And you could have someone like MVP win it, and he gets a Rumble spot. Cool. Great. Would have been good for the fans. Lots of entrances. Lots of excitement about it. And surely they could find 10, 15, 20 people to put in it. Legends from the past or people recently gone. They could have done it easily, but they didn't. I think that's what the show was really missing. The legends doing something physical and being in the ring doing something. We didn't really see a lot of that. And we didn't see a lot of that at all. So that's kind of my solution. 2 hours of the Manhattan Center not broadcasted on Raw, just put it on the network afterwards. Maybe it's an hour and a half. Maybe not, at least an hour or something to keep the fans happy. An hour broadcasted, and then you can have an hour dark if you wanted to. I don't know, but it just felt like a waste of time having any of that there because they really didn't accomplish anything. Really didn't do anything. The Undertaker had a promo. What was it about? We don't even know. What is it? Him retiring, or is him sending a message? Even JR didn't know. So it literally didn't answer any of our questions. Is he having another match, or is he done? It sounded more like he's done, but the rumors are going around that he might be taking on Cena at WrestleMania. What do we expect? What do we believe? I don't know. I have no idea. And as we said, and afterwards they had the DX, which was okay. Obviously interacted with the club, which is cool. I like that. Then the Revolver came out and lost quickly. That's fine. Yep. That's a segment. That's definitely a good Legend segment. Absolutely. But they only had one. 20 minutes out of the rest of the show there was nothing there. A really useless broken Matt and Bray Wyatt match. Why they gave it away on a 5-minute TV match, I don't know. But they did. Jeff Hardy came out and did something there, which is cool. The Miz and Seth Rollins came out and did something. So they got a little bit in the end, but geez, not enough. Not enough at all. So I'm glad I didn't pay for that. And I know a lot of people at least 1,000, 2,000 people paid for that. Big money for it too. So I can understand why they're pissed off, because they paid for a lot more than what they got. So, but yeah, so look, the Barclays Center show was good. I just didn't like the way they utilized the legends. Like, they brought out a host of women and just had them stand there and wave, and that was it. Bring back old GMs and stand there and wave. Didn't do anything. Didn't interact. You had Christian did a peep show, said he's, introduced the people, and that was it. That was it. I don't know why they didn't have, some old Intercontinental champions, and they had a segment backstage or in the ring, hyping up the IC title match for the night, talking about how much, the title means to them or whatever. Something simple like that. You could have, had 5 former champions out there all chatting about it, and then you could have introduced The Miz and Reigns after that and had the match. Something like that. Gets the people involved, gets the legends involved, and people can, pop for them, hear them chat, hear them talk, and cut a promo. It would have been fine. Razor Ramon could have come out there and said something with that, or, Pat Patterson, whatever. But instead, majority legends just kind of come out there and waved, and they had the poker thing backstage, which was fine. That's classic APA, absolutely good. But yeah, and then they had them all thrown out at the end for the brawl, and that was it. So they just didn't utilize the legends very well. They just didn't execute at all. They had the people there. There was a lot of people missing. Some big names. Obviously, top of my head, Nash wasn't there. Bret Hart, Mick Foley. I'm not sure where Mick Foley was. I know he maybe still recovering from surgery or something. I don't know, but I know Bret Hart and Kevin Nash couldn't be there. Edge couldn't be there either. So I don't know about Mick Foley, but I know about the rest. But some other names. The other thing was as well, they had no surprises. Everyone that was listed to show up did. I think for the most part. And then they had no surprise names. We got no legit surprises. They announced everyone that was going to be there. Instead of having 5, 6 names that just come out. We didn't expect them to be there, but they just came out. But as I said, we knew every single name that was going to be there. So there was really no surprise. We're just waiting for them to come out. And it was great to see a lot of them, but there was just no genuine surprise. And if you're going to have a nostalgia show where you're bringing back old names, you want surprises. That's what gets the crowd to react. Other than the fact, it's amazing to see Austin. We haven't seen him for a couple of years. Fantastic. So happy to see him. But, the other thing to get people to react is genuine surprise. And we didn't get any of that. Some other names that could have been there. I mean, I was thinking of Raw, a couple of names that thrown off the top of my head. We've got names, some lesser-known guys that I think were a good part of Raw, like a Val Venus, for example, Steve Blackman, Ken Shamrock, Al Snow, Carlito, Lita wasn't there, and then some other bigger names. I'm not sure where Rob Van Dam was. I think he was a pretty big part of Raw for a number of years there. Goldberg, not a long period of time, but obviously being the next Hall of Famer, maybe an appearance would be good. Maybe they're saving that appearance for the Hall of Fame. They didn't want to use him here. Batista, I know Batista doesn't like doing one-off appearances. He wants to be, all in or nothing. So I'm not surprised he didn't show up. But again, it wasn't there. Hulk Hogan, probably didn't expect it, but we thought maybe a slight chance. And obviously The Rock. I thought maybe The Rock would show up. I was hoping he would. I thought The Rock would be the surprise of the show, and when it didn't happen, I'll admit I was pretty disappointed. I thought I might get The Rock there, but, But look, at the end of the day, I thought it was a good Raw. It was definitely a much better Raw than usual, but it just could have been a lot better. I just think they're poorly executed on how they utilize these legends. And the problem probably was that they had to sell the pay-per-view. They had a pay-per-view to sell rather than focusing on the nostalgia. They had to spend half the show selling their upcoming pay-per-view. So if they do this show after the Rumble or a week ago, last week, they could have probably done a lot more with them. But instead, they kind of got pigeonholed into focusing on the Rumble for the majority of it. Which was fine, but just missed out on an opportunity to do a little bit more with the legends and maybe spend more time with them interacting. Because it's not very often that you get these legends and you have them all there in one night, and they had the chance to interact with all the young guys. Anyways, move along now. Apparently, speaking of 205 Live, we're going to have a new 205 Live general manager. So, who's that going to be? I don't know. I get a feeling it might be Goldust, to be honest with you. But it could be a former Cruiserweight champion. That's what I would like to see, a former Cruiserweight champ. Who would you say? I mean, I know Greg Helms throwing his name up there. Someone like that would be good. Just a former Cruiserweight champ. There's not a lot of Cruiserweight champs right now that are good promos and have a lot of fan support. Other than probably Rey Mysterio, who's not going to come and do this. So, I don't know. But I kind of get the feeling it could be Goldust. Just because of his recent alignment, affiliation with 205 Live. And I guess the question is, who should be the next champion for 205 Live, the Cruiserweight champ? I think Cedric probably deserves to be champion. I think he deserves a run. But if I had to pick someone, I probably would pick Hideo Itami, just because of he has that name value, he has that reputation, and a chance for him to step it up and really show us if he can really run with it. Ideally, bringing back Neville and him straight away plug back in, and would probably be the best choice. So the question is, can they get him back? I don't know, but those are probably the three names that I'm looking at. Most likely to probably be Cedric, Neville a small chance, Hideo a long shot, I think, at this point. All right, let's preview the upcoming Royal Rumble pay-per-view, which is coming up this Sunday, obviously featuring 2 Royal Rumble matches, 1 men's, 1 women's. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a big night. I think it's going to be a fun night, though. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been rewatching old Rumbles to kind of get me excited for it. I watched the 2003, the 98 one, 2010, 2011. Did I watch all of that? I may... I'm not sure. But, yeah, I've been going back and rewatching some old Rumbles, and I think that's always a great thing to do. Rumbles are so fun to watch. And if you have the chance, go ahead and watch a few. People kind of say 1992's Rumble with Ric Flair in it, with defending the world title, was probably the best one. It's pretty damn good. I think the one I watched today, the 1998 one, was pretty fun. I really enjoyed that one, so I'd give that a look. And 2003 was pretty good as well. Some good names in that. So some of the couple ones that I've watched recently definitely are worth the look. So if you're looking for a Rumble to watch, check some of those ones out. 05 was good as well, with some of the new up-and-coming stars of the future at the time being featured, which was always good. So yeah, keep an eye out for some of those and check them out on the network if you can. So let's preview the Royal Rumble. So we have the Usos versus Chad Gable, Shelton Benjamin. 2 out of 3 falls match for the tag titles. I think the Usos will probably retain here, but if they wanted to do a title change, now would be a good time. I think Gable and Benjamin just starting to gain a bit of steam, just doing pretty well, and if you really wanted to put this team over the top, giving them a run with the championships would certainly do so. But the Usos, they've got the fanfare right now. They're doing very well for themselves and have been for quite some time. So I think it would be disappointing for them to lose the championships, but if they were, I don't think it'd be for long. But in saying that, a bit of a freshen up for the tag division might be a good idea, because if the Usos win, who do they feud with next? Rusev Day, maybe? So if they wanted to drag this feud out for a little bit longer, I'd give Gable and Benjamin the win. But I will say, I'm going to say my prediction is the Usos. Speaking of tag team titles on the line, Rollins and Jordan versus Sheamus and Cesaro. I've got to go with Rollins and Jordan just because it's so new. They really haven't done much with it yet. Haven't had any time to. So I feel like they might have them pull off another win, and then maybe in a month or two's time, they'll lose the championships. Maybe at Fastlane or whatever the next pay-per-view is. So to get the belt off Seth and have him do something else. AJ Styles defends the WWE Championship in a handicap match against Owens and Zayn. I'm going to say AJ will win, but I tell you what, it'd be very interesting to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn as co-champions. That'd be very, very interesting. It's never really been done before, I believe. So, I don't know. It'd be very, very interesting. Would it work? Absolutely. I think those two guys could pull it off. And it could lead to a potential turn on one another down the line. But I think the safe bet would be AJ. He'll find a way to win, whether it's Shane getting involved or Daniel Bryan. Something might happen there, some shenanigans. He'll find a way to keep the championship, because I feel like AJ might hold the title till WrestleMania. Fingers crossed. I think he deserves to. Triple threat match, Lesnar, Strowman, Kane for the Universal title. Lesnar will win. They've come this far with Lesnar. He might as well go all the way to WrestleMania. But as I've been saying, Braun Strowman deserves to be champion. He has had an incredible 12 months. My superstar of the year for last year, in my opinion. At least the most improved. Superstar of the year, AJ Styles, but most improved last year would be Braun Strowman. My personal favourite to watch last year was definitely Strowman. So, Strowman's my favourite right now. He has done incredible. I loved everything that he's been doing. He beat up Lesnar on Raw, which normally is a bit of a sign that maybe he won't get the belt, and maybe Lesnar will find a way. Because Lesnar, you notice that Lesnar will get beaten up quite a lot in the build-up to the match, but then he'll win at the match. Women's Royal Rumble match. 30 women are going to be in this match. Wow, that's interesting. 30 women, and 18 of 30 have been announced for this match. So, I guess I'll read off the participants. I think we all really know who they are anyway, but Naomi, Asuka, Ruby Riott, Natalya, Sasha, Bayley, Mandy, Sonya, Carmella, Tamina, Lana, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, Mickie James, Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, Alicia Fox, Dana Brooke. Who's going to win this thing? Wow. It's hard to say. I think the favourite has to be Asuka. I think she's never lost before. She's really done everything basically other than win the Women's Championship. And if you set her up for a match at WrestleMania, that gives you 3 more months to keep building her up. Gives them a bit more time. People know when she's going to get the title shot. I think it'd be a good move. I think she's starting to get some popularity. People respect her. People know that she's a big deal. So she gets a good reaction. Not amazing, but decent enough for the women every week. I think the logical pick is her. I'd like to say Nia Jax, but I feel like that's not going to happen. I feel like they've really called off on Nia Jax. They've gone to Asuka now as their more favourite monster in a way. Favourite badass, I guess you could say, instead of Nia. So Nia's kind of slipped down a little bit. I think Asuka's more ready to be champion anyways. I think Nia deserves a run with the belt within the next year or two, but maybe Asuka beforehand. SmackDown side of things, could we see a winner? If I had to pick one, maybe Becky Lynch. If they wanted to do Charlotte versus Becky at WrestleMania, they could go with that in some kind of way. If they wanted to have a turn or something, Becky winning could be the start of that. But it is quite possible that we do see a change completely and have someone who's not even in the match win it. As we've said in the previous weeks, I think the Bellas will be both in it, or at least one, at least Nikki. She'll be in it. So that'll be 19, potentially 20 of the 30. So that leaves you 10 more women from the past and potentially future to be in it. So I probably would say 5 of those at least will be NXT girls. Ember Moon, probably the iconic duo. The Sanity Girl? I'm kind of drawing a blank. I really apologize. I'm drawing a Nikki Cross. There we go. Shayna Baszler, I think she'll probably be in it. So there's 5 legends. I mean, if Ronda Rousey's going to be in it, I think she'll probably win it, or she will win it. So if they do get her, which I think if you're going to debut her, the Rumble's the time to do it. Absolutely. I just don't know how people are going to react. I think casual fans will love it. I think hardcore wrestling fans will not. This outsider coming in gets the belt or gets the big win right away, and they're obviously going to push her really hard. So, and probably another part-timer. So I don't know. I don't know how she'll be perceived. Maybe she might have to come in and be a heel. She'll probably be babyface from night one, but I feel like the crowd could probably turn on her and she might have to heel it up. It might be a bit of a WWE versus MMA type of deal if they did have her win. But I don't think anyone else is really a chance out of the legends. You might see Beth Phoenix. Kelly probably likely. I think she might be in there. Any of the others, no. You got Maria, who's pregnant. Maurice is pregnant. So it kind of leaves out some of the left field choices, some of the managers to be involved. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think they'll be in it. Well, they're definitely going to be in it, but I don't know who else could probably be in it, is what I was trying to say. Maybe Trish, maybe Lita. I think they'd be awesome. I think they've got to get at least one of those. At least one of those, and that will make the crowd happy. If one of those are not in it, I feel like the crowd will be disappointed, just for the lack of major women's star power. So, I'm going to go with Asuka from the names that have been confirmed, but if Rousey is in it, she'll win it. The Men's Royal Rumble. 17 of the 30 entrants have been announced as of January 24th. Elias, Randy Orton, Nakamura, John Cena, Finn Balor, which I think they're advertising him as the Demon. I've seen some pictures around of him as the Demon. Could be, might not be, don't know. Will it make a difference? Probably not. If he's winning the Rumble, yeah, he'll be the Demon. If he's not winning it, then probably won't bother. Baron Corbin, Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt, Rusev, Aiden English, Apollo Crews, Titus O'Neil, The Miz, Dillinger, Big E, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods. Now, I think one name that's straight away missing is probably Roman Reigns. Now that he's lost the IC title, big chance Reigns will be in it. He's got to be one of the favourites, obviously, to win it. So he'll probably, I'd say 100% he'll be in the match. 100% he'll be there. Probably throws The Miz over the top rope to get some revenge. Possible Sheamus and Cesaro and Rollins and Jordan get in there as well. People do double up all the time, so it wouldn't shock me. Just looking at this list, I don't see Bobby Roode's name there either. From that list, it was right there. So I'd say he'll be in it as well. So what have we got? That's probably 23, 24 of the 30. And, a few other little guys that we don't really give a shit about. So I don't expect there to be many surprises. I think the one surprise might be Lashley. Fingers crossed. I'd love to see it. EC3, I don't think it'll happen. I think he'll go to NXT and be on TakeOver instead. But definitely think Lashley will be in it. I hope so. I hope there's at least one surprise. And I don't think there'll be a legend from the past in it. Would love to see MVP in it, considering he just showed up, but I don't see it happening. But, yeah, so the one guy I maybe would like to see, or expect to maybe see, is Lashley. Who's going to win this match? If I have to tell you right now a winner, I'll say Nakamura, because I just feel like AJ Nakamura could happen. I think they see that match as a potential big one. But the matches I see for the titles at WrestleMania, I could be very wrong. I see Nakamura and AJ for the WWE title, and obviously Reigns and Lesnar for the Universal title. They could either give it to Reigns and give him another Rumble win, which I think would be a colossal mistake, because people are not going to be happy about that. Or they could give it to Nakamura. Crowd will probably be a bit more, excited for that and happy with that. So those are my two picks, because those are the two guys that I see at WrestleMania. So they can give it to either one. If I have to pick one, it'd be Nakamura. But let's be honest, it probably will be Reigns. It probably will be Reigns. They'll give it to him, set up like Reigns and Lesnar. Boom. There you go. So I don't know, man. That's just kind of where I'm seeing it. It's possible you might see Strowman and Kane. They might do double duty and show up. Probably unlikely. I think if you're in a world title match, you probably shouldn't be able to go back in the Rumble later on the night. I think that's not, I think that's kind of shitty. I think the Women's Rumble will open the show. I think the Men's Rumble will close the show out with the Universal title being the main build championship. But it's 4 hours, so they could do the Women's Rumble, have the WWE title on hour 2, have the Universal title hour 3, and then the rest of hour 4 be the Rumble or whatever. So I think it's going to be a big show. Just from the card alone, you got a couple of good tag matches, a couple of big title matches, and then the Rumbles. It's a small card, but it's a stacked card, I think. I think the Usos and Gable and Benjamin will probably be a really good match. Rollins and Jordan and Cesaro and Sheamus, I think, should be good as well. The handicap match, don't know. Could be shenanigans. The triple threat, I think, will be about 10 minutes long. It'll be short. Might not even get that long. It'll be short and sweet. It'll be people going through tables, steel chairs, probably take out the ringside barricade. It'll be that type of match, a quick brawl, maybe 8 to 10 minutes long. So it'll be a quick one. I don't know if they'll add any more matches. They haven't got a pre-show match, so there might be something on the pre-show. Maybe Jinder and Bobby Roode on the pre-show. That could happen. But yeah, so that's my Royal Rumble predictions. Let me know your Rumble predictions in the comments down below. It's hard to pick, but that's kind of where I'm seeing it. I'm not really going that left field. I'm pretty much stating the obvious or the obvious picks, but I think sometimes the obvious is good. In my opinion, I think the Rumble's got to be used to put over a new superstar. I like it when a superstar that's almost there but just needs that one big win to put him in the title match gets it. I think you've got to put over that next star coming through. When Randy Orton won it last year, I thought that was the dumbest thing. Just the absolute dumbest thing. I thought that was the shits. Because a guy who's established, doesn't need this Rumble victory, gets it. For what? For what? So, I think you've got to use the Rumble to put over someone else and give them that big win. Give them that big win that they'll forever have and have that legitimacy. That's what the Rumble brings. Because you look at the Rumble winners in history, the only people who win the Rumble are pretty, high up there. You've got a couple of duds like Sheamus and Del Rio, maybe, if you want to call them that. But, Batista's, Cena's, Triple H's, Reigns, those bigger names, they're the type of guys that win it. So, it's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal to win it. And if Nakamura does win it, it will certainly set him up for a long time. We got a little bit of gaming chat before we get into our questions. We are running out of time. God of War, a new trailer came out announcing the game's coming out in April. Just want to quickly touch on this. I just thought the game looks really good. Storyline of kind of having Kratos and his son working together. Looks like they're in a kind of a different mythology, like in maybe Norse, targeting different gods and things like that. But yeah, I'm a big God of War fan. I played all of them. I platinumed, I think, half of them as well. So I love playing through them, and it's been a while since we've had one. I haven't beaten God of War Ascension. That's the only one I haven't finished, actually. I've just remembered that. I'm halfway through the game. I haven't played it for a few years. It's always been on my list to finish. So I might try and remind myself to play it and finish that before I get to God of War. I forget what it's called on the PS4, but the new God of War PS4. But if you haven't already, check out the trailer for it. It looks really good. And another PlayStation exclusive, which is why I am a Sony guy. Because the exclusives just keep on being churned out, and they're always damn good. Alright, so a couple of questions before we close up this week's show. And the first one comes from Austin Plus, or whatever. He wants to know, do you wish you could control the matches in your universe mode for better direction and storylines? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wish I had as much control as you possibly could get. Decide who wins, decide what happens, everything. I wish. Just like TEW. TEW has that. It's great. But I think to keep people interested in universe mode, the casual player, they like not having that control. I think if you had the full booking control, I think if you had the option to do that, great. But I think the default should be how it is now. But if they gave you the option, I think fantastic. But obviously they don't. So yeah, but yeah, look, I like the mystique about it in some ways. I like, simulating matches and not knowing who's going to win. Obviously, that's how I do my universe mode. I watch matches and simulate. But also, on the matchup screen, before we get to the featured matches of the episode, there's three or four matches that aren't featured, and we just kind of scroll through them quickly. But we always simulate those, and we don't know who's going to win. So it's always a bit of a surprise who's going to win there. Keeps things interesting, and people that I don't particularly think is going to win, they might win, and then that might force me to give them more opportunities, give them more matches. So I like that kind of surprise and element about it, because it keeps me on my toes a little bit, and it keeps me doing, giving title shots to different people. Like, look at Cesaro, for example. Never expected him to be in a world title picture, but he just has these good performances, starts getting some wins, and away he goes. And it's happened a number of times, more so with the women. Like a Naomi, for example. Didn't expect much from her, but she just went on this winning streak for a long period of time, just did so well. I was kind of forced to give her opportunities. So I kind of like that. I do. Thomas Speller, should Braun Strowman win a mid-card title before a world title? No. I think Braun Strowman is above the mid-card. I think he should be straight away into the world title. And soon. If it's not WrestleMania, it's got to be Royal Rumble as well. It's got to be SummerSlam next year. Minimum. He's got to be world champion ASAP. He's done so well. He's got to get the belt. He's got to get the belt, get that big reward, because he's on fire. They've got to capitalize. But I compare Strowman to Kane. I believe Kane was a world champion for a mid-card champion. So I don't think Strowman needs to be a mid-card champion. I think when you're a monster, I think winning the world title straight up is completely acceptable. So, because you've got that legitimacy, you've got the size, the power, everything about that, believability that you can be world champion. And you don't need to prove yourself like for example, just throw a name in there, like an Elias would need to do, win the mid-card and build himself up, like a Jason Jordan, probably a better example. Winning the mid-card belt and proving himself and moving his way up the card. Or if you're, 6'9", you can just kind of, dominate your opponents and just get that shot. Another question from Thomas. When was Michael Cole at his best? I liked Michael Cole the most when he was with Taz in that probably 2003, I think, to that 2006-ish period. That's when I liked Cole the most. When he went over to Raw and worked with Jerry Lawler and whatever and became the lead and kind of replaced JR and whatever, I really was getting sour on Michael Cole. I don't think Cole's been great for a number of years now. I always, like I said, I think his best work was with Taz. They played off well to each other. And when he worked with JBL in 2006, I think, the first time, that was also a fantastic combination as well. But when they worked again later on, just wasn't as good. Do you think Elias taking down Cena was good? That's from Cameron Fox. Yeah, it was great. Look, I think the Royal Rumble Cena will throw Elias out and get his revenge. But it's good that they had that happen because at least Elias looks good. Looks good, and people will remember that because it happened at Raw 25. It was a big deal. If Cena throws Elias over the top rope, people won't probably care as much as they did when Elias beat the crap out of him. So it's good. I think Elias is fantastic. I'm a huge fan of him. I really believe he could be a top guy in the future. I think he probably needs a tweak of his gimmick, not do this thing, the concerts and things like that. Change that up, but more aggressive nature about him and a tweak of his gimmick. I think he could be a world champion, honestly, because he can talk very well, good promo. He's comfortable out there. He's got a really great look. The guy looks like a beast. Let's be honest. He looks great. His in-ring work, I like it. He's not, a 5-star technical wrestler, but he can go. Absolutely can go. So I really enjoy his ring work. I enjoy his style. Just that aggressive nature he's got. I like that. If you can keep turning that up more, yeah, I think he's definitely a star of the future. So I'm glad Cena put him over just that, a little bit there. I don't think he'll ever lose to him in a one-on-one match. I think he should, but it probably won't happen. Do you think Christian will have a retirement match at some point from Cameron Fox? No, he's unfortunately not going to happen. He's long retired now, forced to be retired. He didn't want to retire, WWE forced him. So you talk about Daniel Bryan, well, let's mention Christian. So at least Christian has gone away and done some other things through the podcast and things like that, but clearly I don't think he's in any shape now to wrestle again. I don't think he wants to wrestle anymore, but I think probably a few years ago when he got forced to retire, he was definitely keen on hanging around for a few more years. He could have still been here now. Christian's still young enough. He's only, mid-40s now, so he could have still been around, but unfortunately kind of forced to be retire. How do you feel about Lena not being invited to the anniversary show from Cameron? I think it was a bit odd. You had so many, legendary women, I guess, so many names, and you didn't have a leader show up. I guess the only rational reasoning I think is because we've seen Lita quite a lot already on pre-shows. I think she did the Mae Young Classic, so she's done a lot of other things already. So then maybe they didn't feel the need to showcase her. They wanted to put the spotlight on some other women. But then again, we've seen plenty of Bellas, Total Divas every week, and something along the line. So we see plenty of them. So yeah, I don't know. We see more of the Bellas than we do Lita. And yeah, that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming along for this edition of the podcast. A day earlier for me in recording, but you'll hear it on Thursday as always. If you want to leave a question for next week's show, please do so by a comment in the YouTube comment section down below or over on our Facebook page. Obviously, next week we're going to be reviewing the Royal Rumble, so maybe save your questions for next week on that Facebook page. We've plenty to chat about. Who's going to win the Rumble? Who's going to win the Rumble? Will we have a new world champion? I don't know. It's going to be big. Who's going to show up? Any surprises? It's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So if you want to go ahead and, chat about the Rumble live, come along to my Discord chat. Brendan Plays is the Discord chat. and you can come along and chat about the Rumble live. We've got a live chat going on for the pay-per-views. So to get on my Discord, you just got to join the forum, spreadandplays.com/forums. It's free to join. There's a chat button there. You can join the Discord. Come along and chat. And then you don't have to just chat there for the Rumble. You can chat there for everything. So come along if you can. It'd be fantastic to have you all along there for the Rumble. And I might make a little quick video about that before the Rumble to get everyone to come along. So it's going to be a big show. Love to see you there. Love to chat about the Rumble with you guys. And that's all I have time for, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening in. Leave a like on the video if you can. And tweet out the show and tell a friend about it. And see you all next week.